So this is the wave folder. I'm just going to stop this.
Does everyone know what wave folders are all about? Anyone not used a wave folder before?
Really. All right.
Yeah, I mean that's something that a lot of people don't come across when they're.
It's not a standard subtractive synthesis method. So a wave folder takes a waveform, and it has a point where it's basically a VCA that makes it louder. But then as you hit a threshold, it will take the signal and rectify it about that point. So it basically, and if you do it in a stable way, you get a single octave up that's very, very pleasing. And then you do it again and again, and it's multiple stages. So this is a 6-stage wave folder that will give you, is technically 6 octaves up.
But it's like harmonics. It sounds like adding harmonics.
Yeah,
doesn't
it adds harmonics.
It's the opposite to a filter. So instead of starting off with something with loads of harmonics and working backwards to something that's very kind of pure sounding, you're starting off with a sine wave that works best on sines, and then adding harmonics by bending them backwards, kind of thing. A bit like additive synthesis, isn't it, in a way?
Essentially a distortion unit?
Yeah.
What's that, sorry?
A distortion unit, essentially?
It basically, you've got a sine wave and then it hits a certain point and it sort of bends back in on itself, so it almost looks like the wave's going at double frequency.
Okay.
And initially it's like a normal sine wave with just a little dip at the top, and then it gradually drops more until it just becomes double speed.
Okay.
Then you increase it more, it starts doing it again, and each one of those already doubled waves starts doubling in on itself. So it goes from being like a hump to being like an M.
Right.
Okay.
I spent ages trying to work it into a logo for my website because it's MM until I remembered that Matttech Modular actually uses that already. They use a double N, so I had to give up on that. Fear of copyright infringement.
I don't think George would.
No, I don't think
he might
asked,
actually.
to be honest.
All right.
Bothered me.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit of house cleaning.
Yeah, it's quite often worthwhile putting everything out. And
So this is a sine wave running just into the wave folder, and it's at kind of a not doing anything point. So it has an input level control.
Would it be completely clean? Sorry, would it be completely clean when the folding is at 0? Because some wave
almost completely clean. This is a sine wave.
Sometimes you need to attenuate.
That's a sine wave.
To get,
there's an input attenuator.
Yeah.
For that.
And that's at 0,
reason.
is it that?
Yeah. It's this one.
Yeah. It's not.
So it's a little bit distorted. It's not a perfect circuit.
No.
So and then
I've heard a lot.
As you turn up, it's starting to fold over on itself. That's the maximum amount you can wavefold, and then if you want to hit the input drive a little harder, it'll go higher.
Does it make the folding more, does it make it less obvious the more you drive it? Like some ones I've had in the past, the more you drive the input gain, the less obvious the wavefolding is.
It should make it more obvious.
Should make it more
so
obvious.
from low.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Dophon almost has an extra VCA or something on it because it like the A137, it barely, so if you drive the input, it's hardly, you're doing it backwards and forwards thinking it's hardly doing anything. You bring down the input, it suddenly turns into like a really obvious folder, but
that might be distorting then, because as soon as you run, so that's a sine wave. If you run,
maybe it's clipping, and then
I mean, if you run a sawtooth wave or a square wave in, it doesn't sound like wavefolding.
Yeah, that's maybe it's clipping before it hits the wavefold.
You need curves. In order to wavefold. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep. So this is a triangle, which will be a little bit more harmonic. And then this wave folder has wave shift, which is just a vertical offset to the signal. Kind of shifts where the fold point goes about.
Is that like symmetry?
It's exactly symmetry. Yep. And then you have voltage control over that. So
or bias, they sometimes call it bias.
Yep. feedback, which we have a triangle right now. The feedback changes what I would call the symmetry
Right.
and turns it into a ramp wave or a sawtooth wave.
So does it make it brighter again, or like
Yep.
it's more savagery?
Yep. And it's basically bipolar, but it's the same thing, bipolar. And that's CV controllable as well.
Nice to hear CV into all the CV inputs, like some slow droney stuff or something.
Right. So,
Maybe like at different speeds, so you can obviously hear which ones do what.
Yeah.
Right. Sounds nice. Okay.
so that's just for amplitude, so I don't have to hold the key down.
It's been a popular module, that.
That might be too slow. All right.
See you next week. Liking that.
Yeah, so that's
Nice.
here.
Like it.
What happens if you go back to the sine wave input?
It'll be a bit clearer generally, and a bit less fuzzy, tends to be. You wouldn't notice it so much.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty close. The way the wavefolding works is it's not a hard turn-on point for the rectification. It's a soft, so it kind of turns everything into a sine wave anyway. So, yeah. So the sine wave tends to be not quite as perfect sounding as a triangle generally.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. And then it's a sawtooth wave input, which would be much more.
Sounds quite
It'll always have a
valvey.
sharp.
Almost sounds quite
sharp edge.
valvey. Has it got like that MOSFET thing going on in it? Or
No,
is
it's not MOSFET based. No, it's a Buchla based one.
Right.
So it's based on multiple feedback op amps.
Right.
Yep.
So I've got the top of Brelo one. It reminds me a bit of that.
And if you don't run an input into it, it will self-oscillate sometimes
In
with the
a
feedback
gnarly
up.
fashion.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it like at audio? Have you done the audio rate modulation into it?
No.
It's always quite fun.
Oh, that's great.
Hours of fun. That's nice.
So you can go as nutty as you want.
Now we move over to this system.
Yeah.